Today we're going to work on rebuilding or replacing a front floor on a GPW. MB or GPW would be about the same. This floor, as you can see, is extremely rusted out, and the customer is trying to save this body rather than buy reproduction. So first thing we did was to get some support in here while we have it on our so-called barbecue spit. We welded in tubing, as you see, across the doorway opening, both the top and bottom, to support the body. And since we were replacing the riser, we put the floor riser in first. As you can see, the floor riser here is replaced already with a reproduction part. Another aspect of this floor was that you'll notice there is no fuel sump in it, but there is sheet metal welded here. And we've already welded it in, but you can see here on the side where there was a fuel filler for a CJ2A style fuel tank. So at some point in its life, someone converted this over to a CJ2A fuel tank, welded the floor in solid, no fuel sump. So between the condition of it and the fact that it's got the wrong part in and no fuel sump, why, definitely a candidate for
cut this floor out.
Floor.
Today we're using a plasma torch, and certainly is handy, but certainly not required. Any type of cutting device could work. You could use a saw, settling torch, or anything else. We happen to have a plasma torch, and they are quick and handy, so that's what we're using. Remember, your World War II Jeep hat counter kits have wood fillers in them for extra support. When using cutting torches or devices that are going to start these on fire, you want to be careful with this. That's the major part of the rusted out floor. It's going to take a little bit more time to clean the small areas up, and then we're going to have to work on some of the areas where the spot welds are on the side panels. So a good bit more work to do here until we're ready to start the new floor.
At this point in the job, I've got the major section of the floor cut out. But now, all around the perimeter edge where this floor was attached, it's overlapped. The part of the floor that I cut away is still lapped over the firewall and areas like that on the side panels and the rear panel. So there's a good bit of work to do here yet in drilling out these spot welds. In some cases there's an arc weld that has to be ground off, but we'll drill out the spot welds, we'll grind off some of the other welds. We'll use a combination of the air chisel and the hand chisel, and we'll pull this, what now is just a 1-inch strip for me cutting the floor, but was originally the lip of the actual floorboard. We're going to try to pull that off of there all the way around so that we can get ready to fit the new floor. There's a good bit of time going to be involved here, and areas like this, you've got an arc weld and then all these spot welds. So it's going to be some drilling, some grinding, some chiseling, and we'll get it cleaned up here in time to start fitting the new floorboard. At this stage now, we've got the floor all cut out. We got our trim edges pulled off. Got all that edge rig cleaned up, hammered back straight. We got spot welds ground down, and now we're ready to prepare to fit the new floor. This is the old floor that we removed, extremely rusty. Plus, there are the corner pieces that we cut out of it. We didn't take it out in one entire piece. We took out the section here and the section there where it could reach it. Got all the rusty parts out. We then had the trim edges here. All these edges, the trim edges, we trimmed them off, drilled out the spot welds, and pulled those all out. And that's the floor that we started out with. Sitting here next to it is our replacement floor. The replacement floor already has the fuel sump welded in it, already has the hat channels on the bottom of it, and this is the floor that we're going to be putting into this Jeep. Okay, a couple of other items we're going to do before we fit this floor, a little bit more preparation. One of the first items is on all these edges where we're going to weld. We're going to weld this with a seam that lays over top of itself on the side panels and the firewall and on the rear cross member, or the rear floor riser. All those areas, I want to remove this paint. This primer is a self-etching primer. We want to remove that in those areas where that weld is going to take place, and we're going to spray it along there with a weld-through primer. A weld-through primer comes in a rattle can, and it's a high zinc content primer, and the high zinc gives you good electrical conductivity, and that allows you to do better welding, and you don't burn all this old paint off that's in between there. So next step of preparation is going to be to go along all these areas where the welds are going to be, clean them up. Step in our preparation before we fit this floorboard in is that we're going to punch or drill a series of holes in these flanges where we're going to weld together. A couple reasons for this. One, a lot of areas like out here in the middle where it's going to meet the firewall, we're not going to be able to get a clamp out there. We're not going to be able to clamp it through there. So what we'll probably do is when we have it set up, drill through here the rest of the way, put a nut and a bolt in here to draw the two pieces together, then weld in the adjacent hole, and then take the bolt out, weld the next hole, work our way along, keeping this thing tight together, because we just don't have a way of clamping way out here in the middle. The other nice part about it, even in areas where we're not going to put a bolt in there, we'll weld in this hole against the solid metal behind it. And this will be like a plug weld or a button weld, depending where you're at. They call it a plug weld or a button weld, and you can get in there and weld that up, fill that in real nice with the wire welder, grind that off flush, and it makes a real nice looking good solid weld. So that's our next step in preparation. It's going to be to go along here in these areas where we can't reach and punch or drill some of these holes.